Well, hello everyone. It's good to be back. How's everyone's week been going? I'm super excited to be here today and talk to you all about some CSS pseudo classes. I'd love to check in. How's it going? It's been oh no, we caused Jess to reboot herself. Goodness. Well, be kind to me, please. um, Let me just do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started, but just to check in, this week has been a lot and I've missed a lot of it. I'd love to check, how's it going? How are you feeling so far about CSS? Last time we spoke, there were some feelings of like, it's very confusing. I find myself perhaps frustrated. I see folks saying they're a little far behind. Super okay. Remember, this is all recorded. Mel saying, I wasn't able to get has and is to work inside the free code camp editor. Mel, if you point me to a lesson or a step where that's taking place, let me know. Yeah, well, yes, I'd love to know how you're all doing. And I'll just do my usual stuff if you're tuning in for the first time. Hi, my name's Carmen. Jess, Era, and I are running this free web development bootcamp, learning HTML and CSS in collaboration with Free Code Camp. By joining this bootcamp, you are agreeing to abide by your code of conduct, badwebsite.club/code-of-conduct. If you see anything out of sorts, please let Jess, Era, or myself know, and we'll sort it out. Schedule you can find at badwebsiteclub/bootcamps/spring-2026. Pardon me. You can join us on Discord. Here's the link. Please come and ask questions and answer questions. And if you're missing any less sessions, as I said, go to youtube.com/adbywebsiteclub and you'll find everything there. I think I need to update the playlist. Sorry, folks. It's been a week. All right. Well, let's get right into it. Today, there wasn't a lot of reading homework, but I still want to cover some essentials and do a little bit more hands-on today. So let's see what folks are saying in the chat. Oh gosh. Good on the reading, but not on the labs. Dealing with license stuff. I'm sorry to hear that. Learning backend on the side. Oh, Linux Mint Firefox. That could be part of the issue, Mel. I'm sorry to say. Feeling good today? Oh, great. It's selected a camp, but the test wouldn't pass. And Eduardo's learning Go, SQL, and Docker, the usual. The usual. I've done very little Go myself. Anyway, yeah, let me bring up, not this. First, let's look at our homework. So very little for today. We'll since we have a lot of time today, I want to spend some time going through some of the Design a Parent-Teacher Conference form. We'll take a look at the job application form lab, and then there's some review and quizzes. And I just want to review that review and essentially differentiate between, why are my comments not keeping up? There we go. Pseudo, not to be confused with pseudo. I mean, they're both, I studied, I did, okay, I'm going to share something a little personal. I took most of a bachelor's degree in what is called Informatik here in Austria. My German is my third language and I'm not very good at it. But here in Austria, they pronounce pseudo as in pseudo classes. They pronounce it pseudo and pseudo. So yeah, it takes a little bit of remembering that it's not pronounced pseudo, but it kind of got stuck like that in my head. Anyway, sorry. So we've been already looking at pseudo classes and pseudo elements. For me, the real important differentiator here is the colon and the double colon. A single colon denotes a pseudo class, which is something that can be applied to to an existing element, that is where last child, we've seen with links last week, for example, active, hover, focus, and the double colon denotes a pseudo element, which just about every element in HTML has a before and after, but there's also first letter and marker. But we already saw all of those yesterday. So today, I would like to spend some time going through the practical applications of these. And folks, this is, remember, live, and I would love to encourage you to ask me questions, because the more questions, the more time we can spend together. So, and Mel says, has a special place in my heart. So useful. I believe, I could be mistaken, Has is actually relatively new. Could be 2023 that it was announced. I could be wrong. Anyhow, yes. So what I would love to do today, as said, is spend some time focusing on the practical parts thereof. And in order to do that, I'm going to actually jump into the middle of the Design a Parent-Teacher Conference Forum workshop. I will post a link into the chat in case you are somehow able to type and follow along with me at the same time. If that is the case, kudos. A set of circumstances in me makes it so that is not possible. I need to be doing one thing at a time. So anyway, so what we've got here is a form, and what I want to spend some time on before we look at any instruction steps or any rendered stuff here on the right, or any CSS for that matter. I just want to take a brief little wander through the HTML. Okay, so we've got a main element, H1, with the title. We can see it here. Fantastic. Please fill out paragraph. And here comes the important stuff. We've got a form, student information, full name, student grade. We've got a number. Fantastic. We've got another field set here with parent guardian information, parent guardian name and its corresponding input. Then we've got preferred contact method. Scroll down here. Our preferred contact method, which is going to be radio buttons. Two radio buttons right here. And because they have the according for attribute set, remember when we were talking about this in accessibility, I believe it was accessibility, it makes it easier to click on them. Finally, we have an additional notes section with a text area. And of course, our submit form button. Now, the reason I walked through that is so that we can briefly look through the 8 CSS that we've got so far. And again, I also want to take a very bird's eye view look at this. So background color is midnight blue for the whole site. And the color is white smoke. Did not know that was a CSS color. We've got a container where our background color is set to FF, 1A. Now, folks, I'll be back on Monday to talk about CSS colors, but is anybody perhaps going a little further ahead or nerdy enough to tell me what kind of color is this? Because you might have seen colors with 6 characters in them, but this one has 8. Can I count? I can't count. Fantastic. So what does the last 2 numbers mean? Alpha, Mel, that is correct. But what does that mean? What does alpha mean? Opacity. English is not my first language. So I had to be explained what opacity means. What is the opposite of opacity? How transparent it is. Correct. Love it. Well, actually, no. Actually, Mel, I'm sorry. It's the other way around, isn't it? It's how opaque it is. Because the higher the number, the more transparent it is. The lower the number, the less transparent it is. I'm sorry to be pedantic. So yeah, we're going to be learning about that next week, I hope, because I'm very excited. I love CSS colors. Anyway, width set to 80%. We got a max width, a border radius. I'm going to very, very briefly look at this because we've looked at enough CSS for now. Margin, padding, and a box shadow. Fancy. Got a center class that centers pieces of text. We've got a description that makes the font size 1.2 rem. Anybody can remind me what the difference between rem and em is? Meanwhile, we've got a field set with a border, border radius, margin and padding, font size for the legend and font weight, and a label whose font size is 1.2 rem. Again, I wish I could give out stickers, like bonus points to who can tell me what the difference between em and rem is. Anywho, sorry, I've been babbling. Oh, Mel is saying rem is root m. What is m? Oh, right. And em is m of the element font size. Yes, rem is relative to the root font size, and em is relative to the parent element. You're all correct. One is a band. That is technically correct. Em is proportionate to the element's parent font size, whereas rem is proportional to the root element's font size. That is so much better put than me. Thank you. Okay, so all of that said, let us continue with step 26. So by default, label elements are inline. To make them stack vertically, except for your radio button labels, use the not pseudo class. The not pseudo class negates a selection. Here, it selects all label elements that do not have the class contact method. Select label not contact method and then set display to block and margin to 10 pixels. 10 pixels by 0 pixels. REM, by the way, is also a type of sleep, one that I should be getting more of. Okay, so label. So we're going to be select all labels where the following does not apply. And in this case, what doesn't apply is that all labels that do not have the contact method class. We'll set their display to block. Now, what we should see here is, again, all of the ones for whom contact method does not apply. Let me remove that briefly so I can verify what changed. So I know it's a bit messy. Bear with me. By the way, let me know if the font size needs to be bigger. Okay, have a look here at full name. If I set display block, if I spell that correctly, you will see the label is now set to display block, which means it's going to take up. Don't take my word for it. Let's take a look at the dev tools. Where did you go? There you are. Inspect. Display block means that it takes up the entire row. Can I remove the instructions? Well, oh, that's actually an excellent point. Thank you. That makes a lot more sense. But yeah, as you can see, display block makes it take up the full row, except for contact methods, which is the radio buttons. Fantastic. We just set the margin to be 10 pixels by 0. We can see there's a little bit of margin now. If I set up my dev tools again. This is messy, huh? Can I put my dev tools below? Is that nicer? I don't know. I feel like it should be nicer, but it doesn't feel nicer. Here we go. So we can see that the label with class contact method has the panes of one monitor. I actually have two monitors, but I can only screen share one screen. Computed. Scroll all the way down to D is for display inline. So by default, labels are inline. Cool. Well, that looks good. I'm going to check my code. Code passes. We pat ourselves on the back. Pat, pat. And let's keep going. Now, let me be strategic about this. Yes. Okay. So now we should style the input and text area elements. It's often a good idea to start with general styles for input and text area, then refine specific types. So we're going to select, right, all input that is not contact method radio button and text area. Remember the comma is, I need an Arduino based back pattern. That would be nice. Cool. So remember the comma says for this selector as well as this selector. Great. So we're going to set its background color to be F. I can't count. Yeah, 6, 1A. I want to come back to that. Width to be 95%. Border to be 1 pixel solid gray. And border radius to be 5 pixels. And did I do that right? Yes. And padding 10 pixels. So just like in the previous step, we're going to be selecting all inputs that do not have this class. This way we can apply general styles to most inputs while keeping radio buttons separate. So it'll make my form fields wider and more readable. Whoop. Are they? I don't know. Did I miss something? I feel like the color's missing. This doesn't seem super readable to me. Is the code correct? We're probably going to fix the color after this. I hope, because actually, don't even take my word for it. Remember when we learned this last week? Let's see. Inspect. Yes. Accessibility. Oh, the input doesn't take that into account, huh? Anyway, pat. It's on the next step. Thank you, Eloadl. To ensure the text entered into input as well as placeholders is visible, set their color. See, you called it. I do want to take a minute because Mel asked, can we style radio buttons to be emojis when it's selected to it's a smiley face? So yes, off the top of my head, and this is going to be a challenge for you to play around with. It is for inputs that have the attribute of checked set to true, I think it is. This marker set its content. CSS makes this extremely easy. I say easy as if it was easy. It is not easy. Anyway, so we're going to select all inputs. Inputs is placeholder. Remember, the placeholder is a, if I could spell that, a pseudo element, and the text area to have the color set to white smoke. Let's have a look. I like it, but from a design perspective, I would want the placeholder to actually have a different color, like a slightly darker one to sort of denote like, Hey, this needs filling in. I don't think you can use emojis directly since they're Unicode characters. Directly in HTML? Pretty sure you can. Or I do that in my website. Like I have a little section in my CV that shows like the languages I speak, and I use flag emojis. But I'm getting distracted. That looks good. Check our code. Pat. Let's keep going. Cool. So you might get this pop-up. Free Code Camp is completely free and funder support, external funding supported. We're not making ourselves a bad website club. We're not making any money off this bootcamp. We do it for free because we love doing this, but only if you have the resources to do so. You can go throw a couple dollars to them to help support and keep Free Code Camp doing. I do that on a separate account myself. This one's a learning account. Alrighty, let's move on to radio button. I love customizing radio buttons. So by default, we can see that, let me see if I got this right. Nope. So by default, radio buttons have this native. Just drop the link for your website in the chat, please. But that would be self-promoting and not cool of me. But if you go to carmenh.dev/CV, you'll find it. I'm trying to be humble, folks. Where was I? Yes, customizing radio buttons. By default, they look like this. Remember, this comes from built-in styling for the browser. So we're going to select the element, all elements with the class contact method radio button, and set their appearance to none. To none? Oh, that's exciting. So contact method radio button, set appearance to none. Let's have a look. Cool. Now, this might be surprising. Even though the appearance is set to none, I believe, I could be wrong. Let me inspect. I believe, let's take a look. If I click on it, no. Oh, it's unusable. Good to know. I mean, we'll be fixing that as we go along. Pat. So we will, no, yes. Let's start customizing our radio buttons. So width to 20 pixels. Border radius to 50%. Remember, 50% border radius will make it completely round. And the border itself to 2 pixels. 2 pixels solid gray. What is the essential difference between display and appearance? I don't know off the top of my head, but we're going to look it up because I feel like that's a good, I missed height. I always miss the height. What can I say? I'm one of those gals who doesn't care about height. I'm kidding. I'm sorry to take us off topic. Real quick, let's go look at appearance. Appearance CSS property. So display we know to be how it's displayed in the HTML, right? In the website. Display inline means that it takes up only as much space as it needs. Display block means it takes up the whole row. Display flex turns it into a oh my gosh, a flex box. Okay, let's pretend that didn't happen. I'm sorry, folks. Into a flex box. Where was I? Right. And there's display none, which hides it. Now, ooh, Mel already telling it. Appearance makes it invisible, but still in the tree. Display none will remove the object from the DOM, meaning before and after also disappear. Thank you. That's super handy. So defines a rendered appearance of replaced. Oh, why is this so small? There we go. Replaced UI widget elements such as form controls. Most commonly, such elements are given native platform styling. Oh, interesting. So that's appearance auto, appearance none, appearance text field. Interesting. Cool. You know what? Thank you for the question. Did not know that. I broke just with my before after display none question yesterday. I mean, before and after are weird. Anyway, where were we? I read that as appearance terrifies. Oh gosh. Right. Let's take a look at our new. Cool. So we have checkboxes now, but of course, all checkboxes right now are displayed like this. When we go to the next step, pat pat, I survived reboot. We need to, oh, cool. So by default, we can see that they're not actually aligning vertically, which means that the middle of the text is not the same as the middle of, of the radio button. So what we're going to do is use the vertical align property to fix that. So vertical dash align, and let's see what options we have. We have top, probably. Look at how it's moving. Bottom. Well, I wish it didn't make me scroll back down. See, it's aligned now. Is there center? That's how I think it is by default. We're going to go with bottom here so that the text and the radio buttons are aligned. Check our code. Pat, pat. Oh, it's middle, not center. My bad. Excellent. And now we're going to create the inner circle that appears when the radio button is checked using before. Fantastic. So, contact method radio btn before. We'll set this. I kind of want to do this in reverse order. So border radius set to 50%. Semicolon, very important. We don't see anything yet. Let's add the width and height. This time I remembered the height. 10 pixels. Content set to a space. Can anybody tell me why we would want to set the content to be a space? And finally, display block. And why we don't see anything. It's also something I want to know. In the meantime, looks good. Pat, pat. So now we will position the inner circle so that it shows color. Right, but why would it not show color if we don't have the content? Is my question. When we set the color. Yeah, totally. So, transform to be translate 3 pixels. It's text technically. Feels like a hack to me. In a good way. Scale 0. So far we don't see anything yet. And then we'll add a transition. So the animation will take 0.3 seconds and have an ease in, which means it starts off slow and then goes faster, I think. Love hacks, but often get confused by them later when I see them again in my code. This is a great argument for using comments. Cut that. Let's keep going. Great. And now we're going to use that, I would imagine, when the radio button is checked. So contact method radio. Ooh. What if you use an emoji instead of the space? That's a great question. Let's try it out. I love how much you love emojis, Mel. BTN pseudo class checked, pseudo element before. In the rule, we will set translate, no, transform, translate 3 pixels, scale to 1, and the it's gonna happen, isn't it? Oh, I'm excited. Background color to be light green. Yes. Awesome. Let's mess around with this. What if I set this to be 6? Look. So this is where it is on the x-axis, and this is where it is on the y-axis. So if I set this to be like 60, let's see what happens. Moves all the way out here. So it's 3 pixels from the center. Feels a little hacky. However, I mean, what if I made it? What if I don't translate it? Check it out. It's in the center. That's why you want to be 3 pixels down and 3 pixels to the right. Remember that the height and width and height are 10 pixels. Now, what if I don't set the content? This is something I've been wondering for a while. So as Eduardo correctly said, we need it to show the content. Cool. To show the colors, I mean. But, what if we set it to be an emoji? Do we have a favorite emoji? So if we didn't center the circle, we wouldn't need the translate. I think that would be the other way around. If we centered the circle, we wouldn't need the translate. Can I remove this? Yeah, see, check it out. Without the transform, it's drawing the circle from the top left. So if we centered the circle, which is essentially what we're doing with translate. Remember, translate is transforming the pseudo element by moving it. It's a what is it again? A translate. Yeah. Translate doesn't just mean languages. It also means translate from one place to another. Cake emoji it is. Cake emoji. Now, thank you. That. So what happens if we set this to be the cake emoji? And you know what I'm going to do, pals? I'm just going to paste it in there. Windows button plus period is a great shortcut if you're a heavy emoji user and on Windows, which I am not. I think on Mac OS there's like it's the function button and press it like twice or 3 times. I always forget. Anyway, I don't know if you all know the I don't know what I expected meme, but there it is. There's a birthday cake. So we need hang on a minute. Mel, you said happy face, right? Happy face emoji. What if we use a happy face emoji? Wait, is it your birthday? Hang on a second. Yeah. What if we don't okay, fair enough. What if we don't translate it? And we don't show the background color? Why is the cake at the bottom? Because its text alignment is different from the element's rendering alignment. Does that make any sense? Still needs some alignment. Exactly. Yeah, I don't like how this is aligned. Translate. Let's see. Probably 1px by 1px. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to align. I want to move it up. One more pixel. Half a pixel. Don't ask me why that works, but it works. So there you go. We just answered your question, Mel. You can use emojis for the checkbox thing. But maybe we don't even need to use the... Hang on. Yes, we will click on the button to make it move, but what if I display none, and then display block? Now, you might be wondering, why isn't it animating? Because we're manipulating the width and height of the element. However, we want to animate the font size. So what if we make the font size 0 pixels here, and then make it font size inherit, I think? I'm just messing around here. Does font size animate? Does font size animate? Does font size animate? I think it does. Font size can be animated. Okay, so font size 0 pixels. But it doesn't seem to be animating. And we're going to ignore the fact that the transform is kind of jittery. What if I keep this, bring that back here? Yes! Oh my God, I forgot that I'm so good at programming. Hang on. There we go. Oh my gosh, we're so close. Whatever, that's a win. Look at that, it's animating. And now I have to undo a whole bunch. Yes, I know it animates from the corner, but I'm teaching a class online and I should stay focused because we don't have a ton of time. I think I'm already undid too far. Bring back. I think we're here. 3 pixels by 3 pixels. Scale, and then the background color is lime green. Uh-oh, the emoji's still here. I think these were the instructions. Set the background color proper. Oh, it's not lime green, it's light green. Thank you. There we go. Pat, pat. Great. It's time to style the submit button. So we're going to select the element with the class. Submit btn, cursor set to pointer to indicate that it's clickable. Background color set to royal blue. Color to white smoke. Border set to none. Border radius 6 pixels. And padding set to 12 pixels, 20 pixels. Cool. There we go. I want to ask a nerdy accessibility question. What is one thing that you would add to this button to make it a little nicer? If you've gone further ahead, you might know. To make it easier to indicate that it's clickable. Yes, we've got the cursor with the hand, but what else would be nice to have to indicate that this is interactive, that it is clickable? Anybody? Hover and focus. Thank you, Mel. And I believe that's what we're going to be doing in the next step. Pat, pat. We are, right? Font size set to 1.1 rem. Display set to block. And margin set to auto. Cool. Margin set to auto, remember, is going to center it as well. Maybe add a shadow as well. Things that have shadows are often interactive, easy to see as well. I think it depends on what decade you ask. Like, I remember in the like late 2000s and early 2010s, it was very common to have lots of shadows and gradients in a design era called skeuomorphism. But then they kind of fell out of grace, and everything was a lot of design elements were a lot flatter with single solid colors. So it really comes with the times as well. In any case, we pass. Pat, pat. Let's keep going. Yes, here comes our hover effect. And we will set the background color to midnight blue. We had pseudo 3D buttons. Yep. Why can't I see that? Ah, because I can't spell. There we go. Yes, that's much nicer. And that's the workshop. Pat, pat. I don't know if we'll be covering it in this bootcamp, but I'd love to preview a little thing that got recently added to CSS, which is a really handy feature. It's called nesting. Have you all seen it? Let me show you something. We have the submit button styling here, right? And we have submit button styling with hover here. There is a way to combine these two using what's called CSS nesting. And that uses the ampersand. So ampersand in this case means take this selector and add this next bit of selector to it. So ampersand says ampersand : hover. Check this out. I hope this works. Otherwise, I'm going to make a silly Billy of myself live. Yes! Okay, let me show you all, because this is pretty cool. So a little bit of nerding out, if you don't mind indulging me. Back in the day, CSS did not have nesting like you see here, but was in something called SCSS or SAS. and it recently got added. I want to say like 3 years ago, it got added to the CSS standard and allows us to have this. And there's tons of ways we can use it. For example, with pseudo classes, with pseudo ampersand elements. We can also use CSS nesting with another class, or even blah, blah. As I said, it's relatively recent. I don't know if it's covered in this. Is this enabled in all major browsers right now? That is an excellent question. Let's take a look. Don't know if you're all familiar with this resource called Can I Use? We'll link it here in the chat. And what it allows us to do is say, look up, hey, is, for example, nesting available in all major browsers? And here you go. Newly available across major browsers. You can even see a table here. Works in the latest Chrome, Edge, Safari. Okay, thank you. Safari, Firefox, Opera. Oh, not Internet Explorer. Sorry, Internet Explorer fans. Chrome for Android, Safari and iOS, Samsung Internet, and so on and so forth. So it's a really handy tool for finding out what features are available in major browsers. Okay, well, that is pseudo classes and pseudo elements in practice. We are coming up. We're coming up to the end of our session for today. I'm just going to briefly look at the job application form lab. And I will zoom in, don't worry. Yeah, nothing we haven't seen before in terms of lab. We have our user stories. And if we scroll down our tests, remember to always practice test-driven development, focus on each user story at a time. And remember, if you get stuck, it's always super handy to either go to the Discord and ask questions or show off your codes and solutions and collaborate with each other. You're going to understand these concepts much better once you start explaining them to your fellow learners. CSS class reviews and quiz are also up there. And I think that's it for today. Let's take a look at what we'll be covering next week. Remember, I'll be back on Monday to talk about color. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about color theory, named colors in CSS, which is something we've been covering a lot of, aquamarine, lavender, navy blue, etc. Then we're going to be learning about RGB, which is a combination of red, green, and blue. HSL, which is a combination of hue, saturation, and I want to say light. Is it light? Hue, saturation, and lightness. Yes. Hex codes or hexadecimal codes. Linear and radial gradients. Oh, we did that already. Well, we'll be doing more of it. And in the meantime, over the weekend, read all of that. Go through the workshop for build a set of colored markers. That's a fun one. Design a set of colored boxes. And we'll be doing the review and quiz. We're going to be covering a lot on Monday. So I just want to take a moment before we go away for the weekend to just remind you that, yes, we're covering a lot. We've got, I think, as of yesterday, one more month of this bootcamp together. But don't worry if you're falling behind. Remember, this is all recorded and meant to be followed at your own pace. But do remember that you're not alone. You've got a bunch of learners learning with you, and collaborate with each other. If you're thinking already about the next steps, that's really the key here. What can I do to take my learning further? start making stuff. I wrote in the Discord the other day that the point that I find best to determine when you're ready to start like building stuff on your own or applying to jobs is when you can build stuff without a tutorial. Combination of yourself and documentation, solid, but no tutorial. And we'll get there. But until then, folks, I just wish you all the most wonderful weekend. Congratulations on making it through another week. And thank you for joining me today. I had a wonderful time. I hope you all rest loads and keep on learning. But until then, I'll see you on Monday. Bye for now.